All right, so we have a sheep's head, and sometimes you can buy brains and sheep's tongue and other things outside of the head, getting it as an entire thing. But sometimes it can be quite difficult, and the only way to get it is through getting the whole head. So when I got this, it was not frozen, but I froze it because I didn't have time to deal with it right away. And you can see everything is here. They've removed, obviously, the skin. And I asked them to, and they kind of did a cut for me so that I could get to the brain. So let's take a look and see if, yes, see if I can crack some of this skull off. And if I can't, I may have to cut it again. It looks like they didn't quite get enough in. Yeah, not working. Okay. I'm gonna get another tool for that, so I'll have to edit this. Okay, so first things first, we've got the tongue. Here's the tongue hanging out. We can remove the tongue from underneath. There we go. Let me just use my hands here. I'm just gonna pop that tongue right out. There we go. And I'm gonna now cut. Perfect. All right, so here is a sheep tongue. Looks a lot like a cow's tongue. Not nearly as rough, much more soft. I'm going to cook this up the same way as that I cook up a cow's tongue. I'm going to slow cook it, probably actually in a crock pot, but there's the tongue. So what else do we have here that we're going to want to try and use? Well, if the cheeks are still good, and it looks like they removed most of the cheek, because I'm looking at that, that's very hard. I don't know if I can pull off any cheek muscle from there. Let's take a look. Oh, maybe I can. All right, so pull off the cheeks as well. I think I can get some of the cheeks off. There we go. Here it comes. So I'm taking the cheeks off of this, just again like lamb cheeks. They're quite tough, and so again I'm going to slow cook the cheeks here as well. I want to be careful not to hurt myself here when I'm doing this. So I'm going to try and get that off. Smaller knife here. There we go. Okay, so we're going to have the cheek here. And of course we're going to get two cheeks, so let's take those off. Here's one cheek. Here's the other one. Okay, I feel like I should have got more meat off that, so I think they might have taken a little bit off by accident originally. And I left a bit on the head here, but it's not perfect, that's okay. So I need to go get a bigger tool to try and rip that off. All right, I had to get another tool, so I had the person cut a triangle in so I could access the brain, but unfortunately, it didn't make it all the way through, so I had to get a little bit of a heavier tool. And you can even see where the brain has already been cut a little bit by one of the 3 cuts that he made. So unfortunately this brain's been a little damaged, but otherwise it should be able to just scoop out, and here we go. There's the brain. I've scooped it out. So it's still frozen. And yeah, it's still quite frozen. The hypothalamus then would have been down here, which I already kind of unfortunately plucked out, down in the brain stem. And there we go. If you look at this now, the rest of that is hard. Okay, I've got a bit stronger knife now, and so I think it will be a bit easier for me to get into the eyeball. So let me try one more time. And ideally what you want to do is you want to cut around the eye and get, there's a little bit of connective tissue around the eye. And so if you go all the way around, you should be able to, in theory, just pop it right out once you cut around it. I was trying to use a relatively thin knife, and that wasn't working, so I'm using a thicker knife here now, and I'm hoping I can be careful and not hurt myself and still get this eye out. There we go. So you see, separating the skin along the bone off the sides should allow me to get in that and get that out of there. I'm gonna try the serrated one now. It feels like I'm there, but I just got separated. Okay, we must be close. Feels like we're close now. There we go. All the way around. All the way around, and then pop her out. There we go. All right, so I'm still not quite out. That fat is really holding on. Don't have the best knives, unfortunately, for this kind of work. I have steak knives, not butcher knives. But you can see it's definitely coming out here. As I separate out at the back, try and get the optical nerve cut. There we are. Okay, a lot of fat here too. And here it comes. We have one eyeball. All right, let's get the other eye out, and then we'll have cleaned everything that I want to take off of this, pretty much, as I say. I could have done a bit better job with the cheek here, for sure. And maybe I could have done a better job with the tongue. As I say, I'm not perfect with these yet. I haven't done a lot of experience with full skulls. I'm much used to dealing with the parts that separated out already. All right, so we've got the eyes. Yep, there we go. Now it's working real good. We've got the eyes out here. There it is. All right, there's the attachments in the back. Some of the skin. Wow, it's really fighting to stay on, isn't it? Okay, that took a long time. As I said, now with the cheeks and the tongue, I will slow cook these in an Instapot. They're definitely tough, tougher meats, and so you want to, either slow cook them or cook them in something like an Instapot. So this tongue looks delicious, actually. Cheeks not so good. I feel like they were dried out a bit. Left a little too long, I think. Now, if we look at the inside of the skull cap, you can see the lining that that separates the brain from the skull itself. And so these were both pieces of the skull cap, right? There's the remaining part otherwise. And now our brain is, again, still frozen, but you can see that outside of this cut, which is unfortunate, right? This was made by the blade, so that should be together. Now we have a relatively small brain. I will probably fry this up like I would scrambled eggs as well. This is going back into the freezer for now. I certainly could have done a better job with the tongue and cheeks now that I'm a little bit, first time through, a little bit more experienced now. And I will do that next time, but this won't go to waste. As I say, I'm going to put this in my bone broth. I will probably cut it in half with a bone saw just before I boil it, just to get it a little bit easier to fit in, because it doesn't look like it's going to easily just break apart the jaw bones. So I think I'll do that before I do it. Otherwise, I think I'll show you me cooking this if I can tomorrow. Welcome back, YouTube. So yesterday we took apart sheep skull, and we got a few pieces. I have the tongue and the cheeks in here. I'm pressure cooking for 20 minutes. They're thin. I think that's enough. I can't really remember how much I cooked for last time in there. I've got the eyeballs. Those are going into boiling water. I'm going to put those in for about 5 minutes, and here's the brain. And I'm going to fry the brain up. So I normally like to fry brain. And there we go. I'm going to, as you'll see, chop it up like I would essentially with eggs a little bit with the thing here. And a brain is mostly fat. It's, geez, I don't remember offhand now. I want to say it's like 90% fat, but I'd have to look that up. You know what? I'll get back to you. It's more than 70 for sure. And so you can see our brain cooking up. Now, you can fry this for as long as you want, of course. Because it has so much fat, you'll just kind of lose the fat as it cooks. But I'm going to cook this, no surprise, for just a little bit. And so I'm cooking it a little bit earlier. That's going to take a little bit as well. But I'm just going to cook this up now and then let it sit here in the warm pan. In fact, I think I'm going to turn it off and let it sit here in the pan for a couple minutes because it's essentially cooked, right? There's no germs in this. I washed my hands before I took the skull apart. So don't worry about anything really in there. And you don't have to worry about mad cow disease with sheep brain. So sheep brain is safe. Cow brain is illegal to sell in Canada. Because of that, it's unlikely of getting it, but I don't eat cow brain for just that reason. So I'll come back and I'll show you a picture of my plate in a few minutes. I have it plated. Brains, eyeballs, cheeks, and tongue. Thought I put them in the right thing to make kind of like a little face, like the Time magazine one. And I, again, don't normally salt that much. I'm just going to put a smidgen on the eyeball area here. Just to kind of make that a little salty. All right. So the brains are quite good. Very soft and tender. Very fatty. And they pair well then with the cheeks. They have a little bit more protein in them. Eyeballs are mostly fat. And if you put the whole eyeball in, it will pop. I've cut off most of the backing here.
Stay.
So that's what it looks like. And there's the center part there. Got a little bit of bone in here by accident. I don't know, must have come off the skull. Anyway, there you go. Brain was the best part of that, I think. Because the tongue was a little bit undercooked. Rest was awesome, though. Have a great day.